Joining us now, Jack Scarola, an attorney representing Epstein victims. Let me ask you, first of all, about Ghislaine Maxwell's plea for clemency. Is there any scenario that you see that it would be worth it to be able to question her?
At this point, Ghislaine Maxwell is virtually worthless as a credible trial witness. I agree with Vicki's comments that she is the one living witness in the best position to provide firsthand details with regard to the scope, the extent, the duration, and the participants in Jeffrey Epstein's child sex abuse network. Ghislaine Maxwell was an eyewitness to it all. But by sending Donald Trump's personal defense lawyer in to interview her, to obtain worthless sworn testimony that was substantially contradicted by very well-established, credible documentary evidence. Ghislaine Maxwell has no credibility at this point with regard to anything that she might reveal. It would need to be entirely separately investigated and corroborated and could provide investigative leads, but it would not be worth anything in terms of dependence upon Maxwell's credibility. The game she's playing right now is very obvious. She clearly...
Can I just ask you about this DOJ
Sure.
memo that I mentioned at the top? Because agents said 4 or 5 Epstein accusers claimed other men or women had sexually abused them, but there wasn't enough evidence for federal charges. So if not, and if, as most people expect, Ghislaine Maxwell will never speak the truth, what is out there legally, do you think, to bring some level of justice?
There are credible victims who have given testimony about the participation of others in their abuse after having contacts made through Jeffrey Epstein. Those are credible victims who have given testimony and can provide information that would be sufficient to form the basis of criminal prosecutions. So the idea that there can be no additional prosecutions, I suggest simply does not stand up to close scrutiny.
Last hour, I did ask an Epstein survivor, Marina Lacerda, about that Associated Press report on the DOJ memo. Here's what she told me.
We have some serious documents that not only have allegations, but we have proof there that these men have been involved. And I just don't understand why the DOJ cannot investigate. They were so easily to investigate us in the beginning of this Epstein scandal when the Epstein case first came out.
Questioning your veracity.
Exactly. Calling us a hoax, and then also investigating the fact that we were also, trying to say that we were perpetrators.
She talks about survivor claims that, not claims, the survivors being called, their claims being called a hoax. Is there a larger concern that prosecutors claiming there's insufficient evidence to charge could be interpreted by the public as it just didn't happen, or maybe it happened, but the proof that really is needed in a court of law isn't out there?
I think that is a very legitimate concern. The credibility of the survivors of Epstein's abuse has been under assault for 2 decades. And clearly, it is significant to attempt to determine who the other participants were. But the larger question, the more significant question at this point, is how did the criminal justice system get compromised to the extent that it has been compromised beginning back in 2009, 2008 with the negotiation of the sweetheart deal. There are a lot of questions that remain to be answered. And one of the people who hasn't given the answers that need to be explored is Alex Acosta.
Jack Scarola, it's good to have you back on the program. Thank you for your time.